In this video, we'll recap some of the things that came out as part of Power BI's May 2026 update, including things like the updates to the Copilot experience, features like the Translytical flows going into GA, and updates to the input slicer visual. All of that and more. So without further ado, let's jump in. Let's start with some of the updates that they made on the Explore feature. So this is a Power BI service feature that is kind of like a lightweight version of creating Power BI reports. It has very limited customization options, but it is simple and quick, which is what it is made for. Explore now supports perspectives, which lets you control which fields are being shown with the Explore feature. This is especially helpful if you have a semantic model that has a lot of fields, and not all of these fields may be relevant to your business, like some calculated columns or fields used internally. Perspectives can help you control which fields are being shown so that the fields that are available are the only ones that are really relevant to your business users. Perspective, though, as a feature is not really a new feature. I covered it, I think maybe 5 years ago now, and now it's just available on the Explore feature. So if you want to learn more about perspectives and how to create or manage them, check out my old video. I think it's still relevant to this date. Auto expand for matrix has been improved in Explore. So when you add them as a hierarchy, they should now expand automatically. Another one for Explore, they've added the ability to show or hide totals on your tables. Lastly, a clear formatting option has now been added. So when you're doing an Explore on a matrix that has been formatted, these formattings will carry on to the Explore part of Power BI service. If you don't want this formatting to carry over, you can simply use this button to clear them. Next are some of the improvements that they made on the Copilot feature. The Summarize button is now available on the top ribbon in the Power BI service. This will let you open the Copilot pane to give you a summary of things like trends, highlights, changes in data, and visuals. So it's a good way to get a quick understanding of your data. The Summarize button is also now available on the visual headers for each visual. This just gives you a bit more of a focused analysis on just one visual as opposed to the whole report. Smart Narratives, where Copilot creates a summary of your data in bullet points, it now supports embedding in customer applications. This means that if you're using things like Power BI Embedded, you can use this in scenarios where the users don't need to sign in. There's a new Copilot tooling format, which is specifically for the prep for AI bit. From what I understand, this is basically a backend change on the configurations to make the metadata accessible in a text-friendly format. I think of this similar to how we moved from PBIX to PBIR format, where PBIX before was in a format that you couldn't open outside of Power BI Desktop. PBIR now supports JSON or XML formats that can be opened using text editors like Notepad or Visual Studio, and generally just makes it easy to debug or even develop on. Visual calculations are now in general availability. This feature lets you quickly create calculations directly on the visual. It's a useful feature if you want to visualize something quickly on your visuals without any fuss or learning anything about the semantic model, and I did cover this feature already several times, so go check out my video if you want to learn more about visual calculations. The custom totals feature is now in GA, and basically this feature lets you control what aggregations show in your matrix totals. This is a huge pain point, especially for users who don't quite understand how the context transition works with DAX measures. They've added more options here, like average or none. You can now set a page as a landing page by right-clicking on the page title. Previously, to set a landing page, it was simply just saving or publishing from the page where you want to be the landing page at. And sometimes I would even mess this up. I would just publish from a different page and that would become the landing page. And it's not very obvious that that's how it kind of worked. But now with this feature, it's more explicit. So you can set your home page or your first page as your landing page, and it doesn't matter which page you publish from the Power BI desktop. This feature will make sure that your landing page will always stay the same. Default format string locales are now in general availability in the service. This just ensures that the locale of the report stays the same no matter where the viewer is at. So for example, if you set your locale as US, your reports would always show the dates or currencies relevant to the US, even if the viewer is based or viewing your report from the UK region. Just note that this doesn't actually affect the semantic model Locale or its user culture. This is purely visual and is basically just how the data is displayed in the browser. Translytical flows is now in general availability, and this is a feature that came out not so long ago that lets you do actions directly from your Power BI reports. And going into GA, they've added the ability for optional parameters. So this means that you can now submit your task flows without ever needing to set any parameters as part of your submission. This feature has always been at the back of my mind because I've always wanted to try to cover this because it's actually a really cool feature, and it breaks the cycle of how we normally work with Power BI reports, which is typically just the consumer of data. But I've never really covered it because I've always had Power BI Pro or Premium, whereas this feature is part of the kind of fabric thing. But let me know, are you interested in this feature? Just let me know in the comment section box below if you are, and get a license to cover this feature. And if you're enjoying this video so far, make sure you like this video, leave a comment down below, share it with your friends, or even subscribe if you haven't yet. Any engagement really massively helps this video and this channel reach out to more people. I've recently revamped my website, solutionsabroad.co.uk, where you can find all of my videos, create your own learning paths, mark the videos that you've watched to track your progress, and all of it for free. I've recently revamped the learning paths with my own recommendations, so ranging from topics like beginner's guide, feature how-tos, monthly updates, or DAX best practice. I'd recommend checking out the beginner's guide because it covers sort of the end-to-end of developing a Power BI report, or check out the other ones if you're interested. Just make sure you sign up to a free account, track your progress, create your own learning paths, all for free. Thank you very much, and back to the video. Input slicers are also now in general availability, and now they support numeric expressions. So if you add expressions like less than or greater than, this will let you easily choose a range of data, simplifying the input for your users. Text boxes now inherit formattings like bulleted lists, colors, bolds, etc. when copying from other places like Word, for example, which is very handy. The Azure Maps formatting pane is now in general availability and is basically just an improvement on how various options are organized. And to be honest, I had to squint very hard to see what the difference was between the old and the new formatting pane for the Azure Maps. But hey, it's an improvement if you ever struggled to find the options that you needed when browsing through this format pane. The theme dropdown has a reset to default option, which now has a better thumbnail to easily distinguish it. The column fixed and default width for tables are now in general availability. This is basically just a precise control over the individual pixel width for every column, so you don't have to eyeball it anymore like I do. And actually in next month's update, because this is a recap video, they've added an even cooler feature as part of this, which allows you to conditionally format the widths themselves, which is really handy for more dynamic, precise kind of control over these measures. Subscriptions can now be set and managed directly from org apps. So this lets you organize scheduled emails, which was previously available in Works apps, but now also available in the org apps. Version history is now available in Power BI Desktop. Well, kind of. For this to work, you need to store your reports in SharePoint or OneDrive. This will let you do things like see previous versions, revert to previous versions, or see change histories like dates or who edited them. And it's a simpler way of handling versioning. But really, at this point, you really should be using like proper version control softwares like Git to control your development now that PBIR is available. The new Get Data experience in Power BI Desktop is now in preview. And as far as I can see, is just making the experience options the same as what you see in the Power BI service. So this should just help in keeping everything look and feel more consistent. And that pretty much covers most of the things that I was interested in as part of the May update. So as usual, I'll leave the link to the full blog post in the description box below if you want to check everything out. And if there's any feature that you'd like me to cover as part of this feature update, just let me know in the comment section box below. Thank you very much for watching. Don't forget to check out my website, solutionsabroad.co.uk.